Greetings, VEC. This is Gary Frost, your corporate chaplain. Let me just take a moment in the midst of this holiday season to say thank you on behalf of the Corporate Chaplains of America. We want to thank you for allowing us to be a part of the very fabric of the Valley Electrical Consolidated family. It's been a real blessing to us, and hopefully we've been of some benefit to you. Uh, from a personal perspective, I've had the privilege of pastoring churches in Youngstown as well as in New York City. I pastored in Youngstown for 18 years and then in Brooklyn, New York for 5 years. And it's part of my pastoral tradition each Christmas to read a writing that is entitled One Solitary Life. And it's concerning Jesus. Now, personally, I believe Jesus Christ is the only begotten Son of God, the Savior of the world. Others disagree. They would say that Jesus was just a historical figure who lived and died. But regardless of whether or not you consider him to be the Savior, or you just consider him to be a great man, one thing I believe we can all agree upon is that he is the most influential person of all time. I mean, he's the one, and his birth is what determines the difference between BC and AD. You got to be pretty important in order to have that kind of impact upon human civilization. But this writing is entitled One Solitary Life. And if you just bear with me for a few moments, I want to read this to you because it really is very impactful. You've probably seen it on your Christmas cards and you never read it. So since you never read it, let me read it to you. He was born in an obscure village, a child of a peasant woman. He grew up in another obscure village where he worked in a carpenter shop until he was 30. Then for 3 years, he was an itinerant preacher. He never had a family or owned a home. He never set foot inside a big city. He never traveled 200 miles from the place he was born. He never wrote a book or held an office. He did none of the things that usually accompany greatness. While he was still a young man, the tide of popular opinion turned against him. His friends deserted him. He was turned over to his enemies. He went through the mockery of a trial. He was nailed to a cross between two thieves. While he was dying, his executioners gambled for the only piece of property he had, his coat. When he was dead, he was taken down and laid in a borrowed grave. 19 centuries have come and gone, and today he is still the central figure for much of the human race. All the armies that have ever marched, all the navies that have ever sailed, all the parliaments that have ever sat, and all the kings that have ever reigned, put together, have not affected the life of man upon this earth as powerfully as this one solitary life. So whether you consider Jesus Christ to be the Savior of the world, or you just see him as a very influential person, the most influential person who has ever lived, let's take this season just to reflect upon his greatness and thank God that he walked this earth. Have a great day and have a wonderful life. Take care.